What If is set to premiere on Disney Plus on August 11th with a 10-episode first season. Jeffrey Wright will voice UA2, otherwise known as the Watcher, who can see all of time and all of space, but he can't interfere. In the comics, the Watchers are a species who are omniscient and can view all of space and time and the multiverse. They all take an oath not to interfere with events, they only watch them. In the comics, UA2, the Watcher voiced by Jeffrey Wright, would often violate this oath and help humanity, most noticeably when he helped the Fantastic Four defeat Galactus. In this show, we will see a reimagining of past MCU events throughout the multiverse. We have seen Watchers in the MCU before in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. However, Kevin Feige has confirmed that none of them are UA2, since at the time, Marvel shared rights with Fox for the Watchers, but UA2 was owned solely by Fox. But the rights have since gone back to Marvel. Before I get into the trailer breakdown, please remember to like and subscribe, and also comment what movie or TV show we should discuss next. Also, please follow DM Reviews on Twitter, link should be in the description. Also, a quick disclaimer, in the video I will reference timestamps and like what time you can see things in the trailer. Those are all from the video posted by Marvel Entertainment on YouTube. I will also put that link in the description. I also watched a video by Mr. Sunday Movies. I don't know exactly when it was made, but they discussed and confirmed and rumored episodes of What If, so I will be referring to that quite often in this video to try to explain what I see, so some of them are confirmed, like the first one I'm going to talk about, but others were just rumors that they had mentioned, and I think that what I see definitely backs up what they're saying, so I referenced that. The first shots seen in the trailer are from the opening scenes of Iron Man, but instead of being nearly killed by one of his own explosives, Killmonger saves him. I believe that this will be in the episode, which has been confirmed, where T'Challa becomes Star-Lord instead of Peter Quill. Maybe after he's kidnapped, T'Chaka is too grief-stricken to be king, so then Killmonger's family takes control of the throne, and he does what he had wanted to in Black Panther. He doesn't turn his back on the rest of the world, and he tries to help them. He knew that this convoy would be attacked, so he went there, and while he wasn't able to save the soldiers, he was able to save Tony. At 29 seconds, we see Stephen Strange. First, he's in his costume, then he magically changes into a suit. Then a bunch of strange symbols appear around him, then he falls into a dark tunnel, which then becomes red and purple. It kind of reminded me of Dormammu and the Dark Dimension from Doctor Strange. Maybe this is an episode where he becomes a servant of Dormammu, as Mr. Sunday Movies discussed. Later in the trailer, at around 1 minute and 7 seconds, we see him using dark magic, which could also be hinting at this, and it looks like he could be in the Dark Dimension in this scene. It also kind of reminded me of the climax of Doctor Strange, where he puts Dormammu in a time loop. I'm thinking maybe this could be from that scene, but like maybe he's trying to fight back or something, and maybe eventually he actually gives in to what Dormammu was asking of him. But that really wouldn't make a ton of sense because of something we see later on in the trailer, but there are a lot of things in the trailer that definitely support this happening. At 36 seconds, we see the famous Avengers group shot from the first movie, when they're all standing in a circle. Then the camera fades, and then it shows a different thing, and there are two key changes, but, the characters are still in the same circle that they were in the Avengers. Firstly, the background looks much darker, and it's more destroyed. And it definitely isn't New York. I definitely do see English, but there are definitely other, I'm not sure what language that is. Maybe it's Chinese. A few of the letters definitely look Chinese, but it could be something else. So I'm thinking maybe China, but it's, well, I don't know. Also, the team is very different. So you definitely see Gamora in Thanos' gear, and T'Challa as Star-Lord, and then I think I see Thor on the far right, because I think I see Mjolnir, and then I see someone on the far left who I can't really identify, but there are probably other people here, but those are the four I see. This means that the episode with T'Challa's Star-Lord will probably also have Gamora take over the role of Thanos. This probably means that Thanos has been killed, but, also in this episode we'll probably see Thor join whatever they're calling themselves. Maybe these are just the Ravagers, because later on in the trailer T'Challa says that he's a Ravager at events that take place during Guardians, so we'll see. And at 45 seconds, we see T'Challa as Star-Lord steal the orb, and then he is in the ship with Yondu. It seems like T'Challa got along well with Yondu, while Peter Quill didn't, so this could reflect a difference in the characters. At 50 seconds, we see Thor destroying Ultron robots. I'll discuss those later with a shot later on, but keep this in mind. At 52 seconds, we see Loki leading the Asgardian army against a modern SWAT unit on Earth. This will probably be in an episode which shows us what would have happened if Loki became the king of Asgard. It seems like he may be trying to conquer Earth, and it seems like the Asgardians are in support of this, considering they are being very compliant, and you can also make out the Warriors 3 in the background. So it seems like Asgard would have been very different if Loki had taken over, but it's unclear if this will be maybe killed Thor, or maybe this is when Thor joined the Ravagers in the T'Challa becoming Star-Lord episode, and then maybe their dad died, Odin died earlier, so then he was the rightful heir to the throne. But it's very unclear which episode this is. It might just be its own episode where Loki becomes the king of Asgard, but it seems like Asgard would have been very different with him king. At 55 seconds, we see Howard the Duck. I'm not entirely sure which episode this will factor in. It might just be another brief cameo like he had in the Guardians movies, but it's cool to see him, and it's cool to think that Marvel might actually have plans for him, but my guess is we're not going to see much of him in the MCU anytime soon. At 57 seconds, we see Peggy Carter as Captain America riding an Iron Man suit. This will be in the pilot where we see what would have happened if Peggy Carter became Captain America. In this episode, we will also see Steve Rogers not get the super soldier serum, so he'll stay very small and skinny, and he will be in this Iron Man suit that Howard Stark probably gave him. At around 1 minute, we see Killmonger leading the Wakandans in a war against futuristic robots. We return to similar shots of this battle many times other in the trailer, where we see him leading them on the elephants, or rhinos, I think. And we also see T'Challa's mom. I'm forgetting what her name was, but we see her also there, so it seems like maybe the entire family probably didn't die, and maybe they are in support of Killmonger. So yeah, this is also almost definitely in the episode where T'Challa becomes Star-Lord, and we see what Killmonger would be doing as king. I'm thinking maybe these robots are like vibranium, and this would happen when he tried to help the rest of the world. Maybe this episode tries to justify what T'Chaka's stance was on not really helping, because they knew that the rest of the world would use their technology in the wrong way, and maybe that's what happens here. At around 1 minute and 13 seconds, Peggy calls herself Captain Carter, and we see a dark version of Stephen Strange in a dark cloak, even further hinting that he will join Dormammu. Also, this has the question when in the timeline this is taking place, but you could easily just answer this where he seems to have the time infinity stone around his neck, so he might just be, traveling time. At 1 minute and 21 seconds, we see Uatu looking over a city. Firstly, he is very tall, and secondly, I wonder if this is the place where we could see him interfere with events, which he shouldn't do, but in the comics he does often. He does say later in the trailer that he cannot and he will not interfere, so maybe in this version he won't interfere, but I still think there's a chance we will see him interfere with events in the MCU. Maybe we can get an episode like, what if Uatu stopped Thanos from snapping, but that probably won't happen in Season 1. At 1 minute and 22 seconds, we see T'Challa as Star-Lord coming out of a ship. The two odd things are Taserface and Korath are behind him, and they seem to be on the same team. Maybe along with Yondu, T'Challa got along with them as well, which further suggests that there are difference in characters between T'Challa and Star-Lord. I can't exactly tell who's right on his left. I think it might be whoever Sean Gunn played. I'm forgetting I don't know. I don't remember who he played, but I think that's him. But I think he got along well with Peter Quill too, so that wouldn't be too much of a difference. At 1 minute and 28 seconds, we see a scene from Thor, and here, Hawkeye is about to kill Thor. This episode will probably focus on what would have happened if Hawkeye killed Thor in Thor. I'm not sure really where this episode is going to go. Maybe this could be the episode with the Loki leading the Asgardian army, and maybe that's what would have happened if Thor died, and then, maybe also Odin dies sometime after this, so then Loki is the heir to the throne. So maybe that's really all this will go with, but I feel like this is also going to go with what would happen with Hawkeye, and I'm pretty sure later in the trailer we see him become the Hulk, but I wasn't too sure because I'm not really going to talk about that much because I really wasn't sure who that was, but maybe that's related, but I'm not really sure. At 1 minute and 29 seconds, we see Shuri and I believe Okoye leading an escape, and I believe Pepper is there with a huge gun, kind of to her right. Maybe after Killmonger saved Tony in the T'Challa episode, he and Pepper moved to Wakanda or something, and maybe they're doing some sort of business partnership, because who really knows what would have happened to him if he didn't get the shrapnel in his heart and all that stuff. Maybe he stayed kind of a jerk, and maybe this was a way for him to do business well because he could use vibranium in his weapons. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, we see the Ancient One fighting Doctor Strange. I'm now 90% sure we'll see an episode where Doctor Strange is evil. It really seems like this is going to happen, and I'm very interested to see where they could go with that. Because, it really looks like he's fighting the Ancient One, and I don't think they're going to do an episode where the Ancient One is evil, so my guess is that means he's the evil one here. Because, he literally wasn't a very good person before he became Doctor Strange, so it's very realistic that they could do an episode where he was evil. At 1 minute and 32 seconds, we see Okoye throw a spear and kill Scarlet Witch, I think. It could be Jean Grey because of the light that emits out of her. It kind of looks like the Phoenix Force and, the X-Men Dark Phoenix and X-Men Last Stand. It looks very similar to how it looked when she was getting killed or whatever. So that could be this, but I really think that it's Scarlet Witch because the color, it looks much more red. But it definitely could be. I wouldn't be too shocked if this is Jean Grey, but I don't think we're going to go too much into the X-Men here, so my guess is Scarlet Witch. I'm not sure which episode this is from, but it definitely looks cool, and I'm very interested to see what the context around this is. And I'm very happy to see Okoye, because Denai, I'm a big fan of hers from The Walking Dead, so I'm happy to see that maybe she's going to get to do some voice work as well. And then I know they talked about maybe doing a TV show with her I was hearing rumors about, so I'd love to see more of her in the MCU. At 1 minute and 36 seconds, we see an Ultron army. This is probably going to be an episode where Ultron gets all 6 Infinity Stones. I'm not sure I see Ultron in this exact shot, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get an episode where he gets the Infinity Stones. Maybe this is something where, like, Loki wasn't available to Thanos to help him, so Thanos maybe somehow got his hands on Ultron. I don't know how that happened, and then Ultron got all 6 Infinity Stones somehow, but that's just one theory. There are many other ways that Ultron could have Infinity Stones. Or this could just be another, like, reworking of the events of Avengers Age of Ultron. It's not necessarily has to do with the Infinity Stones, just... I remember Mr. Sunday movies where they were talking about the idea of something about, like, Ultron getting the Infinity Stones because of some, like, leaked art or something. There are plenty of other shots in the trailer, but I had a hard time making out some, and others I just didn't know what they meant or who was there, because a lot of their faces look kind of similar in animation form. And there were many where I had already discussed what it meant, and it didn't provide much else information-wise. So are you excited for What If? Make sure to tell us in the comments section below and tell us which episode idea you are most excited for.